my name's Donn Felker. I'm a senior consultant with Magenic, and in this Dimecast we're going to expand on our conditional training and as well as an introduction to looping with the each attribute. I've previously created a sample project for the Spark Dimecast, and I've extended this again to include an expressions to view, which we are looking at this time. Through the view data we are getting a customer object and also a list of customers through the view data. This is done through the home controller. We're just setting up 10 customers real quick. We have a level, which is a customer level, which is premium, gold, silver, and other. They have a name, and a customer level is for the customer object themselves. If we go back to the home controller, we're just setting up basic 10 customers that are all premium, with just customer name is customer 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we just set up a basic new customer to work with the name being Donn Felker and the level being premium. So if we go back to the view here, inside of Spark, we can have conditional attributes specified inside of HTML elements. Here we are specifying an if element inside of a p tag. So basically what this is saying is if the customer level is premium, I want it to print this text right here. If this customer level is not premium, this will not print. But we also now on the next line have an else if. If this equates to false, it'll bump down to here. Else if the customer is gold, print this. Else if it's silver, print this. Else print this. So we have a premium customer right now. If we were to print the first page, we'd see welcome super duper premium member, which we now are premium. If we set this to silver, we should get the silver area, hello silver customer, which we do, hello silver customer. And if we set this to other, we could say hello new member, or new customer, excuse me. Now Spark also gives us the ability to test upon different types of HTML. So you could apply the same type of conditional logic to a div. You could apply it to maybe an object. You could apply it to many different types of things. So if you wanted to output maybe a Silverlight object on the screen, if certain cases were met, you could do that very easily with these conditional objects. And again, now a classic example of this would be if you are a premium member of the website, we want to provide you with a special link where you can access the premium area of the site. And so we're just going to output a simple A tag and say this is the premium members area, but I only want this to show up if the member is a premium member. So as we can see here, our customer level is still set to other, but I've added some code here with an A tag that actually takes us to a certain route that's for premium members. However, there is an if conditional attribute specifying only print this if the customer is a premium customer. We refresh, it compiles, nothing happens. The customer is not premium. But if the customer is a premium customer, we refresh, now we have the link to the premium member. So you can hide, disable, enable content based upon certain conditions inside of your code, which is very helpful for a dynamic website, especially if you're using a lot of jQuery and you need to initialize your content with certain attributes and set certain things up. It's very simple to do and fits nicely, very cleanly into the HTML itself. We don't have a bunch of if blocks nested around this. It's a lot cleaner than the previous model we had demoed. Before we can get into more conditional attributes, we need to kind of understand a basic fundamental stance about looping so we can really apply a real down-to-earth example. There's a couple different ways to loop in Spark. This simple example, we're going to be using the each attribute. Each attribute is applied to an HTML element, and what I'm highlighting now is the portion that the each element is going to affect. We're going to place the each element into an HTML element, such as the table row, and I'm going to say for each customer or cust inside of the customers list, which came from the view data up here. So here's where the view data is. And the customers is strongly typed, so I can hit dot and you can see, count. This is a list of customer. And again, this has been generated for us by Spark, so that's why you have the nice long GUID looking type of number there. For each customer and customers, I want to loop through and give me the customer name, the customer level, and now we have 4 different variables here. These little variables are the variable name appended with is first, is last, count, and index. By default, when we loop in Spark, Spark gives us these 4 variables for free. We call it the 4 for free is what I call it. We have a is first. This is a Boolean value specifying is this the first customer in the list? Is this the last customer in the list? And then we also have a customer count. This is the count of how many customers are in the list. However, note that this will enumerate the enumeration. See the Spark documentation for a little bit more detail on that. And then we have the current customer index. So the index of where this customer object is inside of the list itself. So is it the 1st, the 5th, the 10th, etc. Now if we run this and print this out to the screen, we'll see we have customer 0. We'll see here, is this the first customer? True, it is true. So it printed true because it is the first customer. Is it the first? Is this one the last? Is this the first last? No, 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 no. We get to the last one here and we see that that customer is the last customer. The count is the same because the count's always going to be the same throughout the entire, because we always going to have 10 items in our list because we already built it. The index itself starts with 0 and ends at 9, 0 based, and so we're able to tell where we're at inside of our array. Building upon this example, we're able to start working with a conditional attribute output. So we can actually output different values depending upon certain elements inside of our HTML. Excuse me, certain elements and attributes inside of our code. I have set up some basic style here. The style is going to be used here for our conditional output. Again, we have the 4 for free. The index is first, is last, and the count. I'll be outputting the same exact table that I was before, but now I've added a class attribute here specifying I want to show the alt class, but this is the conditional output here. And what I'm saying is only show the alt class if the customer's index modulus is 0. What this does is highlights every other row, and I'll show you right now. We'll refresh it so you can see what I'm talking about. What we're doing is we're highlighting every other row just for a UI perspective, so the end users can kind of see what row they're looking at. They can highlight, click, whatever. Very common in all web apps these days. Now what this says is only show alt if the customer's index is a modulus of 2. So if it's a divisor of 2, show it. Otherwise, if this conditional equates to false, this entire line will be gone out of the HTML. So let's take a look at the HTML. Scroll to the bottom. As we see here, we can see that customer 4 has the alt class applied. If we go back to the page here, customer 4 has the alt applied because we have the gray background. Alt, alt, alt. If we go to customer 5, we do not have it. This is the white background. So now the entire attribute itself has been completely removed from the code. Not alt just wasn't removed, the entire attribute was removed. So if the entire attribute fails the conditional, that will disappear. Now however, if you have a class in there that's maybe you want all of your classes, all of your rows to have a certain class, that will stay there. But if it's for this example where you only have one class in there or multiple conditionals, then depending upon if all the conditionals fail, nothing will be there, or if a conditional succeeds, what precedes the conditional will show up, which is also brings us to the next topic. We have the green here. I want to highlight the true values in here. So if it's first, show true, and if it's last, show true. We should only have one in here, which you see we do, a green true and a green last. And that's done through setting up another conditional attribute inside of the classes. So what we're stating here is apply the isTrue class, which is up here is true, and remember the alt class is this CSS alt class here, background color D4, D4, D4. So we're going to show isTrue if this is the last customer in the list, and show isTrue if this is the first customer in the list. Now let's take a look at the HTML. Oops. And if we look at the HTML, we see here that this number 9 is a white background here. We don't have a gray background, but we do have it is true on the 9th customer because they are the last one. So you can see here all the rest of the classes are gone except for this one has it is true is false. Excuse me, is true for the last customer. And now we also have on the first row, we have a class alt is true here. Now we have the alt is true because this is also a gray background and a green background. Looking at the code, making sense here because this is also an alternating row and it's the first customer. So we're able to output different types of attributes inside of the HTML. So this could not only be for a class, but this could be maybe for object attributes inside of your object tag in HTML. It could be for some div attributes. It could be for any different types of HTML attributes. Again, this is only for HTML attributes itself. And this covers basic use with the inside of each attribute for iteration. We're going to cover future iteration as well as more conditionals as we move further along into this series. Again, I hope this has helped, and until next time, thank you.